So we've talked about some of the elements that a guy should be thinking about when he's doing direct day game, and we've got a couple more of those.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into the actual kind of 1, 2, 3 ABC process of
the juicy stuff,
yeah.
right? So we've gone through these points, and there's 2 more on my little hand of how you behave, and there is one more that I want to talk about really briefly as well, which is not linked to how you behave. So there's this one here, which is the second to last one about communicating value, and it's something that a lot of guys when they start, because they're worried and they think, oh, I'm just nervous, and they forget about it. And it's the difference between coming across as a charming, confident, bold person and an axe murderer, right?
Yeah.
And that's smiling, And remember the first point I raised where, like, does this person mean to harm me?
Yeah.
If you're approaching a girl and stopping her in the street and you're, like, not smiling, or at very worst, like, the opposite of smiling, whatever that is, like, even panics and stuff, like, it's not going to give that a good impression,
Yeah.
So I often tell guys, and it varies from guy to guy. Some guys can kind of get away with, because we're all individuals, we all smile in a different way. So some people, when they smile, like a little bit of a cheekiness there, a little raise there is often enough, right? But some guys, you've got to do a big smile. Me, often when I approach a girl, I'll laugh as I approach, because I realise what I'm doing is kind of silly, or it's kind of, I think it's fun. So I tell guys, just as an exercise when they first start, laugh as you open, like hi, and it will put you into a good place. So, and it will make you. The amount of guys I teach sometimes where I say, you got to smile, and because they're nervous, they think they're smiling, but they're not.
Yeah, or if they are, it's a forced smile, which is just as bad. Right?
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing? Hi.
And then it's like this person isn't being sincere, right?
Yeah.
So I get them to think of something funny, realise how kind of ridiculous this is, and kind of and just go with that attitude. And
I like that opening with a laugh actually, and I think a lot of guys might let that point just slip by if they're watching this. But I know some people that are very, very good socially, and they'll kind of go, "Hey, how's it going?" like that, and they're kind of
this is disarming, right? You're like, "Oh yeah, hi,"
and you're like, "Oh, this is nice," and we all know that mood is contagious and emotion is contagious and all of that stuff. So if someone comes in and they're almost starting with a little bit of a laugh, then they imagine that the interaction follows at least. It's going to be fun, right?
And that's why
it's going to be serious and horrible.
And that's why my favourite opener is literally jumping in front of a girl and laughing, going hi, and that's it. That's my opener, right? And then she's like, because of the vibe and the playfulness and the fact I'm laughing as I say hi, she's like, oh, what does this guy want, right? But I will also say that once you've opened and you start to then get into a conversation, what you don't want to do is then keep smiling. Oh, awesome!
Yeah,
you're a drug dealer. That's so cool. Yeah, that kind of thing. So I always tell guys, once you've sort of transitioned it into a conversation, and you start, so where you from or whatever it is, I say change your expression to a look of kind of curiosity and okay, interesting, that kind of thing, right? I'm not saying don't smile from that point onwards, but I'm saying when I tell guys, go in with a big smile, they think, smile, and they just smile the entire way through.
It just comes across as fake and is rewarding her for whatever she says.
Exactly.
And you were talking about value, and it's something that could start to lower your value. Right?
Yeah, and your value it will open, and your value will be really high, and then you start asking what she does, and she says, I haven't got a job. You're like, cool. Yeah. And then it just starts to go down.
But it has a purpose at the beginning, because it's telling her that the interaction's going to be a nice one.
Yeah, and you're not going to kill her.
And you're not going to kill her.
Exactly, which is a bad thing. So that's a smile. The next thing, and the last thing for your behaviour, is your eye contact, right? And you get a lot of guys, and they open direct, and they're just, what it is I saw you from across the road, and
it sucks.
And it's just not good, You want the eye contact. That's where you get the connection with the girl, If you're looking at her in the eye, say, look,
yes, I really mean this.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm engaged, and it's very important when you're in conversation as well that the worst thing you can do is when you're talking to somebody, you sort of glance to the right. And these guys probably can't see it. So if I'm talking to somebody and the girl's telling me about her day, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. So what are you saying? And the girl's thinking, what? It's so important when you're talking to the girl, you're really, really engaging her. I'm not saying death eyes. But like, one thing I tell guys, and I think this is very important: pick an eye and stick with it. Like, I look at people's right eyes. I don't know if you've noticed that my eyes don't seem to dart around too much when I talk to you.
No, I haven't noticed.
Because I just picked an eye I'm comfortable with. For some reason, it's the right eye.
Is that because some guys kind of go eye to eye, eye to eye?
Yeah, like if we're talking and suddenly I just start doing this, like
you look nervous.
Well, as you're, if you talk to me
contact.
and just tell me about your day today.
Yeah, so I've been doing some work and I was doing some emails and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a big thing. It's not the thing that's going to get you blown out. But I do this with not just with girls. I do it with guys, and it just when people are talking to you and you just focus on one eye, that you can't tell I'm looking at one eye because the difference between this eye and the next eye is such a small amount that it doesn't look like, it's not like I'm looking to the right or anything, you know. But from your perspective, it looks like I'm with you. I'm talking to you. And when you're talking to me and my eyes are darting around, it kind of gives the sense that I'm analysing or thinking, and I'm not really paying attention, right? So, and that's the thing when you're in conversation. But when you're opening the girl direct, you're gonna be looking at her in the eyes, you know, and just again, I pick one eye and engage her because now we're connecting. Now we're not. You know, you could look away. I might as well be just standing, looking the other way if I'm not looking in the eyes. You know?
Exactly.
So when you're opening, make sure you've got good eye contact. And that's the 5 things about your behaviour that gives away your value. And the last thing, which isn't my area of forte, but it's very, very important, so I want to mention it, is your fashion and grooming. Now, it's so many guys underestimate this stuff. They think, it's fine, I'll just I'll wear a feather hat and that'll be alright, you know, or they think, nah, it doesn't matter what you look like, you know.
Well, the whole pickup thing is talking about how to pick up women no matter, you know, what your situation is, and you know, a lot of guys kind of don't like the idea that fashion plays a part, and I guess any situation is recoverable, meaning you could go in and make a terrible first impression, do everything wrong, and you could use incredible game to kind of get it back and persuade her to, you know, to want to date you. However, it's nice if her first impression is as good as possible. It will really make your job a lot easier. So, you know, to any guys that kind of think, oh, well, I'm doing pickup, therefore I don't need to improve my fashion.
I got game.
Sure, but it really does help.
Yeah, why make it half yourself?
And it's so easy, it doesn't take a long time.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, just why make it half yourself? Why think, like, I've literally, people have told me, like, yeah, but like, why should you have to change your image for a girl, you know?
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I'm comfortable wearing, like, looking like a tramp. This is who I am, you know? I just need to learn some lines and that'll be alright. Like, I mean, I think if you're striving to achieve the goal of being a high value guy, and not just for the purposes of the perception, like, I think a lot of the old ideologies is about manipulating the perception of your value rather than actually trying to build your value, actually trying to become high value, right? BHV rather than DHV or something, right? And I personally, I think it's a great thing to sort of just think about fashion. I'm not saying like suddenly become the most fashionable person in the world and, you know, everyone sees you and goes, oh, that guy's, he's this month. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, just start paying attention to it. If you don't know about fashion, start speaking to people who do know about fashion. If you can afford it, go for a fashion consultation with someone, you know. And like, I did a fashion consultation with Ollie before I was working for Pure Training ages ago.
We used to use a case study.
Yeah, you know, and it's the best money I ever spent, because before I would go clothes shopping and I wouldn't really be confident with what I was buying. I'd buy this shirt and I'd look at it and I think it's kind of alright. I saw another guy with it once. I'll try it on. I guess it looks alright, you know. And you sort of buy it, and you're out in the club or whatever, and you just, you know, all it takes is one person, one cool guy to look at you and go, "That's shit," and you think, "Oh, fuck, he's right. It is," you know. Where I'm not being funny. When Ollie dressed me and I went out, if anybody said to me, "You look shit," I'd be like, "Are you blind? Look at this." And it's because I've been dressed by like a fashion model, right? So if you are confident with the way you dress, awesome. I'm not saying like I'm not assuming automatically, you know, you've got to work on it. But if it's an area where you're not confident, and I tell you what, if you go out,
just your appearance in general, meaning if you're not totally comfortable with how you look,
yeah, it affects your
improving your fashion will make you walk down the street